We want to thank you for joining us as we just go through the Referdia residual compensation plan. And we're going to do a couple things here over the next approximately 15 minutes. We're going to give you an example of a business that runs a deal that you signed up, or maybe somebody in your team signed up, or a customer that you or somebody on your team signed up. And then we're going to take you through the power of team building and introduce you to what we call the Referdia calculator that I believe you'll be very excited when you see. So let's go ahead and go through some information here for you. And I would encourage you to play rewind, play rewind, play rewind, so you really understand the power of the Referdia compensation plan and how lucrative this really is. So first of all, we're going to do is let's go through an example. Let's say there's a business that has run a deal, and we're going to, for this example tonight and for the calculator, we're going to use a storefront deal. And there's two types of commissions that our company pays out. There's what's called the featured deal of the day. That would be similar to other online group buying companies, where a business is featured on the Referdia.com website in that respective city. And our company pays out what's called a 10% net commission value, or what we call a CV, on that. And you'll see right here where I'm circling, it would be 10% of the net purchase. Okay. If it was a storefront deal, which is really the power of what we're doing, and many businesses choose to use the storefront concept for a lot of different reasons, that is a 5% of the net of the commission of value. So as an example, let's say there was a business that ran a featured deal on our Referdia site in their respective city. Say it was in Cleveland, Ohio, and they ran a deal $40 of, say, food for $20. That's pretty standard in the online group buying industry. Well, what we call the net, about 3 to 5% will come off of that $25 that will cover merchant fees and surcharges. So let's just say, for argument's sake, it's 5%. We'll go the higher end. So 5% of that $20 final voucher cost is $1. So there's $19 left over. And then our company will take 10% of that net, which is $1.90, and then it will get paid out accordingly times the number of vouchers that were bought and who gets what. Okay? And the second scenario would be, let's say there's a storefront, and there's many storefronts in each city and also nationally that are running deals consistently. Well, let's just use the Cleveland, Ohio marketplace again, and let's say there was a spa that was running an offer of $50 worth of spa treatments, and let's say they were just marketing 30% off. Obviously, one of the powers of our model with the storefronts, they can run the deals at whatever percentages they want. So this example, $50, 30% off would obviously be $35. And then $35, once again, we got to take, company takes 3 to 5% of that to cover merchant fees and surcharges. So, that's going to be, roughly about $1.75. Let's just say, for argument's sake, it's $2, so we can use even numbers. So $33 is the net, and then the company will take 5% of that $33, which is roughly about $1.60, and then $1.60 per voucher would then turn around and get paid out accordingly to the field. So just give an example on what this net means and the difference between a storefront deal or a featured deal, etc. But for this purpose, for this example, and to keep it very simple, let's just say there was a storefront, and they ran a deal for, let's say it was $40 of merchandise, and they offered it for $30. So obviously that's a 25% discount. So $30 is the amount of the voucher. 3 to 5% comes off the top, which once again is about $1.50. It leaves $28.50 left over. But if you will allow me, just for very simple math, let's just say it was $30 was the net. So 5% of that $30 is obviously $1.50. Now let's say that business ran a deal, and their deal had 100 people that bought the deal. So we would take $1.50 per voucher times 100 people who bought it. That would be a total of obviously $150. So that $150 would come into this big circle you see right here that I'm circling, which we call the commissionable values. Now, that $150 is going to get broken up in 3 different parts. First of all, whatever representative signed up that business, and it has nothing to do whether you're a certified representative or any of the 5 earned positions, certified team leader, executive team leader, regional marketing director, national marketing director, senior vice president, regardless of position, as long as you're at least a certified representative, you will get 20% of that $150 in this example, which obviously comes out to $30. So you just made $30 for your business that you signed up that just ran this deal. Once again, $40 of merchandise for $30, and 100 people bought it. Once again, there's $1.50 per voucher times 100. Once again, that's where that $150 came from. 20% of that is obviously $30. Then the company's going to take 30% of that $150, which is obviously $45, and that's going to get paid out in what we call the business commission value. And that's going to get split up amongst all these different positions based on who is at what position. So let's pretend, for an example, you're an executive team leader and you are the one who signed up that business. Not only did you make the $30 for signing them up because you were the referring certified representative to do it, but on top of that, the second payout, the business commissionable value, you're going to get 5% because you're not only just an executive team leader, you're also these other 2 positions as well. So you get 5% plus 5% plus 5%, which is a total of 15% of that $45, which would come out to be, altogether would be $6.75. Now let's say, for an example, I am a national marketing director above you. Well, I would get 10% because I'm not only a national marketing director, I'm also a regional marketing director. So I would get 10% plus 25% for a total of 35% of that $45, which is roughly about $15. And then the computer is going to ask, who is the next regional marketing director above me? They're going to get what's called a first generation commission of 5% because they're the first regional marketing director above me. They get 5% of that $45, which is $225. Then the computer is going to say, who's the next national marketing director above me? Because remember, in this example, I was a national marketing director. So who's the first national marketing director above me? They get 10% of that $45, which is $4.50. And then who's the next national marketing director above them? They get 5%, which is $225. Then it's going to ask who's the senior vice president above that. They're going to get 20% of that $45, which is $9. And then who is the next senior vice president above that? They're going to get 10%, or obviously $4.50. So all that you do is you just take this amount, and then you take 30% of this amount, and then you just ask who's at what position, and you take these percentages and pay it out accordingly. And here's the best news. The computer does it for you, but just so you have an understanding. Then what the computer is going to do is it's going to take this third column here, 50% of the consumer commission value, and that's going to get paid based on who signed up those 100 customers. 50% of each of those vouchers. Remember, each voucher was worth $1.50, so 50% of that is 75 cents. So the computer is going to take that 75 cents, and it's going to ask who is at what position that signed up those consumers. So let's say, for an example, I personally signed up 3 of those consumers of the 100 that bought the deal. And let's say that I'm a regional marketing director. Well, I'm going to get 5% plus 5% plus 5% plus 10%, 25% of those 3 consumers that I signed up or virally came in through my consumers. So that's 75 cents times 3 is $2.25. I get 25% of it. And then once again, the computer is going to ask who's the next regional marketing director. They get 5%. Who's the national marketing director? Who's the next national marketing director? The next national marketing director, senior vice president, and senior vice president. So once again, very simple. We just take this amount right here, and we just break it up according to these 3 different payouts that it goes to. So I just want to give you a brief example of how this works. But a couple points I want to make. Number one is this. See where it says, remember we talked about the referring representative? See, in most direct sales companies, if you don't build the team, you're not going to make a lot of money. And even though we know building a team is the most powerful thing you can do, it's the power of distribution. I don't care if you're Walmart, McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, Subway Subs, or Envato. He or she that builds the biggest distribution channel will obviously make the most money. But very unique to the Envato opportunity is you can make some really great money just on the businesses you've personally signed up, because once again, this percentage that's paid out is paid out just according to you being minimally a certified representative, has nothing to do with an earned position in the company, and that's huge. And the other thing I want to point out is what we just went through has nothing to do with all the viral customers that you will get paid on that your customers led you to, and also the businesses that you signed up, their customers that are following them, that are buying things, and virally who they're leading to as well. So that's the first thing I want to cover. The second thing I want to do is introduce you to the Referdia calculator. And this is going to show you an example of the power of building a team. Now, for this example, I am going to focus on two things. Number one is that everybody has at least 50 personal consumers. Now, you might say, 50, that seems like a lot. It is not a lot. And the reason why I say that is this. We're giving away free. How many people do you know would love to get something for free and be able to save money on things, or from businesses and things that they're going to buy from anyways? Now, I'm not saying that you got 50 consumers in a day, maybe in a week. We have people that have hundreds of consumers. We have people that have just a handful of consumers and everywhere in between. But I truly believe that, in my opinion, every Envato representative's goal should be to have at least 100 consumers signed up because of the power of viral growth. Ladies and gentlemen, one consumer can lead you to potentially hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands or more consumers, because people referring people through word of mouth and financial incentive trying to get their deal for free. So let's just use half of what I believe the goal should be. So we'll say it's 50. The second part of the example is businesses. How many businesses would each and every one of us personally sign up? Now, I believe that every one of us should have at least a goal of signing up 25 personal businesses. Once again, that's like our career goal. 100 consumers is our career goal. 25 businesses is our career goal. Why? Because I just gave you an example. Imagine if you had 25 businesses signed up. And remember the example I just showed? The representative who signed them up made $30 just on 100 vouchers sold. What if they sold 500 vouchers or 5,000 vouchers? Would you rather get paid on just one business running a deal, or 5 or 10 or 15 or 25 or 50, and them running multiple deals per week or per month? So let's just say for this example, I don't want to cut 25 in half. That's 12 and a half. That's an odd number. So let's say it's 10. So I pretty much cut that number in half as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use these two numbers, a 50-to-1 consumer to rep ratio and a 10-to-1 business to rep ratio. Once again, we're just talking about over time. Okay. Secondly, if you look down here at the bottom of the page, what I'm doing is there's a couple parameters I want to give you here. Number one is this. There's no limit on how big a voucher can get paid out. I'll give you an example. Let's say you had a business that ran a deal for $200 worth of goods and services, and they gave away, let's say, 25%. So it was a $150 voucher. And then after that 5% coming off, the 3 to 5% coming off the top to make it the net, 150 times 5% would be roughly 750. So it would knock it down to about 143 and change. I'd just say, for argument's sake, it's $145. Well, 5% now, remember we talked 5% commission value comes up against the storefront. 5% of $145, I mean, you do the math. That would be a total of just over $7 in commission value per voucher. So you can see how big these numbers can get. What if you had a business that ran a deal of $1,000 value for, say, $800, 20% off? and you took 5% of that. That's $40 in commissionable value per voucher. So what I did, just to be very conservative and also to really more hit the range of what the typical deals that are out there in the online group buying space, you'll see right here, I used the $5 to $50 range, meaning that the voucher cost to the consumer was between $50 and $50. And it could be a lot higher than that, but I just wanted to give a little parameter here. And once again, there's no ceiling, just so you understand it. So just so you know where I came up with these numbers and how I based this on. Now, here's a breakdown once again of the percentages that are paid to the business, paid to each position. And also what we did is we just calculated what kind of commission you would get per customer that bought, per consumer of yours that bought something, and per person that bought from a business. And we just broke it down by position, very simple, very basic numbers. And once again, these, in my opinion, would be higher. But once again, we want to under-promise and over-deliver and give you some very conservative numbers and not give you a bunch of pie in the sky. So let's just have some fun here. Let's say that you are a certified team leader. And let's say that you have 10 representatives in your team. And remember we talked about everyone has 50 consumers. Now we got to factor in viral growth. What will if you take 10 times 50, that's 500 consumers in your portfolio, meaning between, that your team has, not counting your own customers. So we got to say, how much will those 500 customers grow? What's the ratio? Is it 5 to 1, 10 to 1, 20 to 1? I mean, you can't really quantify viral. I've heard many people say it's at least a 10 to 1 ratio. So I said, well, let's cut that number in half. Once again, to be conservative. So let's say it's a 5 to 1 ratio, whether that means over weeks or months or a year, whatever it means, we're just saying 5 to 1 ratio over time. Now we got to ask ourselves a question, how many vouchers will these consumers buy per month? Will they buy one a week, one a month? What will it be? Let's say it was just 2. Now, if you go down here, once again, down here, certified team leader, you would make 3 cents per voucher bought by the consumers. So altogether, that would come out to be $150 in residual income. Now think about that. You didn't have to go get any of these consumers. Somebody else went out and got them, and those consumers led you and your team to more consumers that you didn't have to get and your team didn't have to get. Once again, it's the power of Envato, what makes us so unique. And now you're making $150 a month just on the consumers, and many of them are people that you don't even know you have to get. Now let's go to the business. Let's say that you and your team have 10 businesses signed up each. Then we got to ask ourselves a question, how many vouchers, how many deals will they run per month? Let's say the number's 2. Okay, I've heard it could be 1 a week, 1 a day, 1 a month. Let's say it was 2. Then where it says vouchers sold, the industry average is about 300. But once again, just because we're still fairly new, there are companies that have ran deals and have had several hundred people bought. We've had companies that ran deals and had a few people buy, and everywhere in between because we're still a young company. But let's just say that 75 people bought, on average, bought these vouchers. Now we go back down here. Remember, certified team leader gets 2 cents per voucher. That would come out to $300 per month on the businesses that you're getting paid on in overrides from your team, that you're coded as a certified team leader, and that's a total of $450 per month, or roughly just under $6,000, on average for the year. But you're not going to be certified team leader for the whole year. But think of how powerful that is. See, once a consumer in a business is coded to you, you get paid according to when they came in the system, where you are at for the lifetime of them being a consumer or business. It doesn't change by somebody hitting your position or you moving to another position. Where you're at is what gets coded to you, and then when you move up to the next position, the new business gets coded to you accordingly. But think of how powerful it is. Now, there's 2 points here. Number one, we're not counting you getting paid on your own consumers and virally who they lead you to. Number two, we're not counting you getting paid on the businesses' customers that are following them and virally who they lead you to as well. Now let's go to the next position, and we're going to say you're a certified team leader. I'm sorry, an executive team leader. Now, an executive team leader we'll have 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 representatives on their team. Okay? So what I want to do is I'm going to use a number here of just 75. And the reason why I'm using that number is this. So far, statistically, I have seen personally that people that hit the regional marketing director position, that's this third one that I'm circling, usually have between 80 and 150 representatives in their team when they hit that position. So at 75, you're still probably an executive team leader. So let's say you and your team went out once again, you got 50 consumers, and the viral growth will keep it at 5-to-1. And let's say that the vouchers per month is 2 once again. Now your commission changes. Down here as an executive team leader, it jumps up to 5 cents. So now your commission you're now making $1,875 in residual income. That's powerful. Just at the second earned position in our company. Now let's talk about the businesses. You and your team have 10 businesses in your team. Let's go and say the businesses only did 1 deal per month. Okay, let's just keep it nice and conservative. And let's say the average vouchers will keep it at 50. And once again, your commission is going to change. Over here, it's 3 cents now at the executive team leader position. That's another $1,688. Ladies and gentlemen, that's over $3,500 per month that you being coded as an executive team leader that you're making on all those customers that your team has and the businesses running deals. And once again, we're not counting your own customers, and we're not counting virally who they lead you to, and we're not counting the business's existing customers following them, that revenue multiplier, and virally where that goes. Now let's go and say that you're a regional marketing director, and we'll say that you have 200 representatives on your team. Remember I said the average regional marketing director hits that position with about 80 to 150 representatives. Well, the national marketing director, which is the 4th earned position, statistically I've seen they typically have about 500 to 700 representatives when they hit. So if you have just 200 people on your team, you're more than likely a regional marketing director still at this point. So you got 200 people on your team. Let's say there's 50 consumers, viral growth to 5-to-1. Let's say that they only bought 1 voucher per month. Let's just keep it conservative. And now our commission just jumped up to 10 cents. So now we're at 10-cent commission. You're now making $5,000 a month at the regional marketing director just on the customers in your team. Now, your team has 10 businesses signed up. Let's say, once again, we'll be conservative. Say they only ran 1 deal per month, and the average voucher sold, let's go conservative. Let's say it was 50 instead of 75. Now our commission here jumped up to 6 cents. So see where I'm circling it down here. So 6 cents commission. You're now making another $6,000 on the businesses for a total of $11,000, 6-figure a year income in residuals coded as a regional marketing director. And that's not counting everything I've already spoken about. It's not counting bonuses that you would get in building your team. It's not counting getting paid on energy and travel. I'm not even counting any of that. It's not counting Referdia, cross-marketing, the consumer base to get you more energy and travel. I'm just talking strictly Referdia. Now let's go for one last example here. And let's say you are a national marketing director, and you have 900 representatives in your team. Okay, remember I said a national marketing director, usually I'm seeing statistically hit with about 500 to 700. Let's say you had 900 representatives in your team, 50 consumers, right? 5-to-1 ratio. We'll keep it 1 voucher a month. Your commission jumps up again. Remember, we're looking down here, 21-cent commission. You ready for this? That's $47,000. It's over $500,000 a year coded as a national marketing director. Now we look at the businesses. Got 10 businesses. Once again, let's keep it at 1 deal a month, 50 vouchers sold. Your commission once again jumps up down here to 12 cents. That's $54,000. You're talking over $100,000 a month coded to you as a national marketing director. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a 7-figure annual income, not counting bonuses, not counting energy, not counting travel, not counting the cross-marketing of the database, etc., etc. So I can go beyond, and I don't want to start giving you numbers that are going to blow you away. You could punch in your own numbers. Imagine if I went to like the senior vice president position and I said, what if you had 5,000 people in your team? Can you imagine what these numbers would be? You'd probably fall out of your chair, and just for you not getting injured and doing that, I'm not going to go that high. But I just want to give you a perspective of the power of what we're doing here with Referdia, signing up consumers and businesses for free, and consumers leading us to more consumers because of viral growth, businesses because of the revenue multiplier leading us to more customers, and virally that grows. We've got the new AMR program where large organizations and celebrities and nonprofits are coming on board, and they have huge databases that they're bringing on. And we got the new DSC program. I didn't even incorporate any of those other programs into this calculator. I just wanted to keep it simple, clean, and give you a picture of what's happening. And then I also want to leave you with this. Some of you might say, those numbers just seem way too crazy, almost unrealistic. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to remember, online group buying is the fastest growing industry in the history of business. Groupon is an $18 billion company today. There's already a couple hundred other companies in the industry copycatting Groupon. $10 million a day plus is changing hands. About 500,000 transactions taking place every 24 hours. When you look at those numbers, these numbers are beyond realistic. We truly believe without a shadow of a doubt there are going to be 6-figure and 7-figure monthly earners in our company because of the power of Referdia. See, here's the best part. If you ever wanted to recruit the best representative you could ever have in your team, if you ever wanted to have the best salesperson ever, in your company, you have it. Every one of us share that person in Referdia. Referdia doesn't sleep. Referdia doesn't take a vacation. Referdia just keeps working 24 hours a day, incentivizing the database to do something because they have a financial incentive to want to do something, and you're growing a viral consumer base through consumers, through businesses, large organizations, your team, nonprofits, you name it. And next thing you know, you're creating a lifestyle, because isn't it all about, at the end of the day, having time back in your life, doing the things that you want to do with your family, your friends, helping out your church, community, whatever it is. That's what this does. Referdia creates a lifestyle. I hope this has helped you. I thank you for your time, and have a wonderful day.